Yes, I have been busy.
All right. Hey guys, it's Mr. Extraordinary again with yet another video. I'm joined by the one and only Tebello.
How's it?
Yeah. So I just wanted us to record yet another video. I had fun on the last one, and I hope you guys also had fun as well. Thanks for all your likes and comments. And I think I saw one subscriber since the last time we
Nice.
recorded this. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, you good? Is everything fine?
I'm good. I'm good. I just want to add a disclaimer. I have absolutely no idea what the topic is. Uh, the
Yeah.
the topic is going to be about today. I'm as in the dark as you are, fellow viewers. So if I'm caught off guard, don't cancel me, okay?
Well, look, it's nothing specific, but I just wanted us to. Okay, there's just two things that I wanted us to talk about. One is I've realized that we don't have a lot of South African blurred YouTube channels or podcasts, and it's a shame because there's a lot of us. I mean, when you go to Comic Con, there were a lot of people there, you know. So I just realized that platforms like these are very important, are needed for most of us in the community. I just don't know where we're hiding, but I don't know
Eh,
what that is. What do you think that is?
I have two things about that. One, there were channels
Word.
that
Right.
there were.
Okay.
Some of them fizzled out, some of them are still trying to gain relevancy here and there, but they were there.
Hmm. This is like
Two, it's not some.
this is
Mhm.
like 2008, 2007 type of channels, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
Mm. Secondly, it's not necessarily where are we hiding, it's that how are we not getting attention to ourselves? That's the thing.
Right, right.
Mm. I
Oof.
mean, I've been doing my research. It's not necessarily a matter of reach. It's not necessarily a matter of whether people are watching or not. It's basically how do we get the algorithm to work with us instead of against us?
Right, right. Yeah, but hey, hopefully more people will do this now instead of back then. Well, more than they did back then. Let me put it that way. Because I do know some of them were gamers, right? It's like
Yeah,
gamers.
the gamers. There's this one guy. He was there at Comic Con last year. Let me just see if I can find his name.
Did we see him?
He, I think he saw us.
Oh, did he say anything?
Something like that. Something like that.
Okay. Did
Let
he
me just
approach you?
let me just he's got a lot of content on TikTok now. He's
Okay.
going on about having to recast T'Challa. That's how I still remember him a lot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He has a channel. It's just that it didn't gain enough traction at the time, but I'm thinking that man is still working on it. If I could just find his name. If I could just find his name.
I
You
think
see, this is how I get sued.
that's then I think we should get him on, man. We should get him on here and have a discussion with him and just get his take on certain things, you know?
I think you'd love that because his insight, funny enough, is I think deeper than mine, especially when it comes to all things Marvel. The amount of things he goes on about. Okay, he did comment on my one post, so I can track him that way.
Really? Deeper
Yes.
information than yours. Or
Yeah,
not
I know.
yours.
Yeah, he's a his name on Instagram is Backmace Terman. I
Yeah,
don't know if I spelled that
I
correctly.
know him. I know him. I actually discovered his channel, I think 2 years ago or something.
Yeah,
YouTube channel, and he even interviewed Clyde Beach, who
listen to that.
yeah, how crazy is that?
So
Who's working with
so
Loiso on
so so there are people that are trying to push this. I think
yeah,
that's what I want the viewer and I want you to get away from this is that there is an audience for us. There are people who are pushing it and they've gone ahead and we can learn from them
yeah.
and we can also be able to be inspired by the courage and the action, I think.
Right, right. No,
I mean,
I agree with you. I
what's
agree.
his name? He just got 1 million subscribers and proposed to his wife, now
Uh,
fiance.
G,
Meg
McG,
Meg
MacGyver.
G.
Yeah.
Yes. Funny enough, he's not the only channel that crossed 1 million. Do you know that?
South African channel.
Yes.
Which other one crossed 1 million?
A famous TikTok star, Zayan. I think that's how you pronounce her name. We met her at
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, and you were fanning out. I
I
remember.
was geeking out like, oh my God.
What does she do? But is she a podcaster? Because
She's a tick she mainly has her contact on TikTok, so she's really short videos.
okay,
But she also got her gold plaque. You
YouTube.
should see her Instagram. There it is. She crossed 1 million.
Oh,
So
that's
it's not a once in a while thing.
right, right.
You know what I mean?
No, I get you. I get you. But the other thing, man, that I wanted us to talk about is X-Men, man. Just as an IP, I think for me, I still believe that it's one of the strongest IPs that Marvel has. And I think the reason for that, well, there's a bunch of reasons which we'll get into, but I think it is possibly one of the most relevant, strong works of fiction out there. And the reason I say that is discrimination, hate, has been a thing for the longest of time. And the fact that X-Men has been pushing that agenda since its inception in the 60s will always make it relevant. This people who are born with extraordinary abilities, or let's just say that people who are different and struggle to be accepted by society.
I think what makes X-Men so effective is just how simple the story is, actually.
Yeah.
For for an example, it's you don't have to work, one of the biggest things as a writer, and I think it's one of the things I'm both and I admire and I'm also very jealous about when it comes to the X-Men, especially,
Right.
is that you need to find an origin story to explain the powers you have. You can't just say, I woke up and got powers up until X-Men did it, because all they just needed to say is evolution.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, it's the most easiest concept
Yeah.
ever because
Yeah.
we are all evolving one way or another.
Right.
And wouldn't it be cool if he evolved into these superpowers? And that's the whole thing. So he it took a massive weight off the writing block
Yeah.
because he can write up a character that says, okay, this man can basically turn himself into a tornado.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, mutation.
Yeah.
It's his evolution.
Look, I guess it was exhausting to come up with all these accidents
Yeah.
and these traumatic events, but
Got
I
bitten by a
think,
spider.
yeah, but I think what Stan Lee really
What
got right,
happened to Daredevil again?
that devil was saving someone from being from a car crash or something, and the car that was driving had some toxic chemical that
Yes.
uh spilled it.
Ironically, the same chemicals that made the Ninja Turtles,
Yes. Yes, yes, yes,
who
yes.
are also a part of the DC universe, thanks to Injustice. So
Yeah, yeah. So wait, I
it
think
goes
we're
to
not
show
on the
all
run.
this behind all this competition between Marvel, DC, and all these others. They're just a bunch of geeks that love to show off their artwork.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all it is, man. And that's why
no,
some of
they
these writers keep dabbling between DC and Marvel, and
yeah, it also shows the beef between Marvel and DC and anime and Western media. It's all just a facade, really, because
yeah,
deep down inside, we all just love
same
each other's
thing.
work.
It's the same thing.
We just love each other's work. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. It is. I mean, look, these people watch each other's stuff. They watch each other's stuff. They get inspired by each other's stuff. You can clearly see it sometimes when you watch some of these things. You're like, but this one was copied from Marvel, or this one was copied from DC, or this one was copied from anime. You know, so they're each other's fans, just like we are fans of everybody. You know, I think that's what it is, but it works for the most part. You know, but like going back to I mean, let's look at some of the characters in X-Men, for example. I'll give you Cyclops as an example. That whole laser, that whole optic blast thing is
the unsung
Superman.
hero.
Yeah, it's also like the Superman thing, you know, being able to release something from your eyes, but instead of actually, but the only difference is that he can't control it. Like he obviously it's not laser eyes, yes, but you're still releasing something from your eyes that's red.
It's literally it's literally kinetic energy.
Right, right.
It's like being punched with
Yes,
a beam with his eyes. It's so
yeah,
funny. The way they try and explain these things just so that people don't think, oh, it's just Superman's heat vision. No, it's
yes.
not heat vision. It's
But at the same
kinetic
time,
energy.
it's I don't know. I think they probably retconned it at a point because I think I read somewhere that the beams come from another dimension. So
Yes. Yeah.
and then I also read somewhere that
His eyes are literally portals.
yeah, but I also read somewhere that he was saying that he peeled Hulk skin off or something, a part of Hulk skin off or something like that. And there's a panel where he didn't like sentinels in his yard, and it's like, get this thing off my lawn. And then he took off his visor and he pushed that thing or burnt it to a crisp. I don't remember. So sometimes there's just inconsistencies with that power.
But now, with that in mind, which comic on Earth is consistent?
Um,
There isn't.
there isn't because it's
You will
right,
find you'll write you as a writer will write the most perfect storyline,
right.
come up with the perfect concept, and then all of 2 seconds later, someone will come up with a plot hole the size of Kenya.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we as writers aren't allowed to say, wow, I didn't think of that. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oops. We're not allowed to say that.
Yeah,
We are all supposed to
yeah.
be eyes, and in this storyline, it's all part of my plan. You may think it's a plot hole, but it is not a plot hole because I've long since calculated the plot hole that you
Uh,
will see in number 3 of this comic.
but you see, I think that's sometimes those plot holes are what make the comics even better because the writer then starts, discovering that, okay, flip, I need to fill this up. Then they maybe come up with other characters that they didn't even think would even serve the story. Then the story becomes even better, you know? So, but anyway, okay. X-Men created in the 60s by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. We already spoke about the part of Stan Lee coming up with this idea that, okay, these people have to have powers that they're born with, right? Which is a brilliant idea. And I guess having two leaders who have
It's
opposing.
something we legitimately can't use ever again.
What's that?
Yeah, the idea of using evolution as an excuse for powers, I think it's been done in Marvel, and I think it's also been done in anime. So it's like that excuse is gone now. Nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think the ones that were using it a lot was the one that comes to mind in anime would be Evangelion.
Okay. Please
Because
elaborate.
basically all those kids are like the next level of
Oh yeah,
humanity.
the children.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah, it's like X-Men all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And sorry.
what I appreciate about the X-Men, which you touched up in a bit, is that it highlights all kinds of issues, like
Mm.
from discrimination, all forms of you see yourself in all forms of discrimination in the
Yep.
in the X-Men
Right.
in the
Right.
X-Men universe.
Right.
If you can see racial, if you are born black in a white man's world, you see yourself in the X-Men.
Mhm.
If you are basically if you are heck, even the patriarch can be seen somewhat in the
Yes.
X-Men.
I want to get to that,
Even
by the way. Please remind me to touch on that. That's something that I just,
yeah,
yeah. Mm. Uh,
even the LGBT issues
yeah,
are reflected in the
right,
X-Men.
right.
Because so long as we
Religion,
have a majority
mm,
that is oppressing a minority,
right,
the X-Men, the idea of the X-Men, people can relate, the people in the minority can relate with those X-Men. They can
right.
see themselves as those X-Men. They are different, but they're the same. They have these gifts. They have something they can offer.
Mm,
We've
mm.
got rhythm. We are black. I mean, really. Um, and we want to be a part of this world to show our gifts
Yeah,
and be accepted as we are in a world that either is too afraid of us
yeah,
or judges us because of what we appear or what we believe in.
yeah,
So because of that, growing up as a little kid, we saw the X-Men as basically us.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we also carry that choice whether we could use our gifts to try and better humanity to show what we're capable of, or use our gifts to bring bring great destruction upon mankind.
and also I think it also touched on how powerful well, okay, how underestimated people with disabilities are. Charles Xavier is a brilliant man, with doctorates and degrees and whatever.
He's overpowered.
Yes, but he
And
was
I won't lie.
but he's on a wheelchair, right? And most of the time, if not all the time, that's something that the people around him don't even talk about. It's like, look, we see you as who you are, not on based on your situation, and that's a powerful message, even though it's very it's not so what's the word I'm looking for? It's not in your face, it's just a
Yeah.
subtle way of saying that, you lead this entire group, right? And everybody respects you and they don't see you
Plus, you're a
lacking.
billionaire.
Yeah. I still don't get how he's a billionaire though. How is he a billionaire, that guy? How does he make money? How does he feed all the
Charles Xavier,
look, I
wasn't he
get
born into money?
but still, I still don't get it. Like his dad was rich, right? And he's a
Yeah.
professor. I get that he's a professor as well, but my thing is, how are you able to feed all these kids and keep the lights on? And because it's not like
I,
the X.
back in 2010, the survey said he had a net worth of $5 billion. So he's loaded.
Yeah, I still don't get how though.
He's
Unless
not stock rich.
yes,
I think he's right there with.
T'Challa rich is not the T'Challa rich.
Oh no, no one's T'Challa rich.
Yeah,
Let's don't even
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even don't even go there.
But unless if he, I don't know, maybe has some lectures that he gets paid
If
for somewhere. I
I don't
don't
know,
know.
please. If I know him as well as I think I do, he's got some long-term investments that he's piled up here and there and everywhere. He
Mm-hmm.
owns a little bit of everything and is
And I wonder
breaking in big time.
if these kids,
I mean, a man who can read maths could literally ride the stock markets to till infinity, if you ask me.
but also, do the parents pay for school fees there at the school, the institute? Do you take your kids to the school, or does he just recruit you using Cerebro? Like, there's so many questions that I started asking
I
myself.
think I think he just recruits you because
He does. Well, in the
the,
comics, that's what happens. Yes, he just
because there is no way in hot hell you're gonna tell me Scott's family was rich enough to pay for the tuition.
no, no, I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, his fees could probably be way too high for any mutant. So I guess it's a pro bono thing that
And that's the other thing. You know, in the movies they gave us the idea that the X-Men were all these former students that became strong and stuff like that. But then if you look at the comics, it's a little more like he gathered up a team
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
no way you're gonna tell me Rogue in the comics was a former student of Xavier. There is no way. That woman was a criminal.
Yes, yes. And
I mean,
she stole her powers from most of her powers from Captain Marvel. So,
yes.
you
Put
know,
the poor woman into a coma, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like we're going so deep. We didn't even start like at the beginning. Like we didn't even
Let's
here
go
we
back.
are doing a
Let's
deep
go back. Let's go. Yeah, back we go. Back we go. Okay.
Okay. So as I was saying, there's two leaders in this comic or in this IP. One is Professor Charles Xavier, who is a professor of mutation or something. And he runs a school. I think it's in Winchester, New York or something. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
There's a specific address that they used to write in the comics. And in that school, basically he has students. Well, the first students that he actually had was Cyclops, aka Scott Summers, who, as we've mentioned before, has this optic blast, which is powers that he gets from another dimension, and those blasts are as powerful as a punch, but a very strong punch. And he's the field leader of that team. And then you have Beast, Hank McCoy, who is this brilliant guy who's very smart, and he's very big.
I like to think of him as the Scotty of the X-Men. Like if you are, I'm sorry for bringing up Star Trek Star Trek analogy,
Yeah.
but where there's Captain James Kirk, there was Scotty working in the engineering room. We have got Cyclops and
By Scotty, you mean Bones, no?
now Bones is the doctor,
Oh, Scotty, yeah, Scotty,
the chief engineer
yes, the one who was being portrayed by Simon Pegg in the
in the new ones. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm giving you all she got, Captain.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so Scotty would be like Beast.
That's true. That's true. Because he would be at the lab and testing things, and
A genius in his own right. People
100.
forget how just a smart Hank was. Woo!
But Hank is very smart. He's very, very smart.
I think
Possibly one of the smartest characters in all of X-Men. Possibly.
what I like about his character design was supposed to be a living contradiction, where you think big bulky muscles and you'd be thinking he's an idiot, but he's actually quite smart.
Right, right.
In essence, he was like the opposite of the Hulk back then.
And he's
Where,
level-minded, He's not someone who just goes off tangent and just starts fight. And no. He's very calculative. He would actually speak to you before fighting with you, But if push comes to shove, he will fight you.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was a scene in X-Men Legends 2, that game, a cut scene where literally Apocalypse crashes into the mansion, and before Apocalypse even finishes the next sentence, Beast was on him like,
he was on him.
yo, like yeah.
And would say
there was no time for polite talk conversation at that point. You can see there is still an animal in there, and it will rip your neck.
I guess we can say that he's more of a close range combatant, like Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then we have Iceman. What's his name again? Bobby Drake, right?
Yes, there you go.
Who can turn himself into ice, and then we have Angel. Okay, Angel. I think it's Sam Worthington the third or something like that. Rich kid, handsome guy, has wings. That's why it's called Angel. He can actually fly with those wings. And then you have Jean Grey, who was what was thing again? Because they like calling her Jean Grey, but she had a nickname, an AKA. I just forgot what it was. Yeah, she did. She did.
News to me.
Not Miss Marvel or Marvel, something like Marvel Gold or something like that, but it's hardly used, but she used to have. But anyway, yeah, that was the first team, and then over the years, people kept coming. I mean, You got people like Storm or Monroe, who was in Kenya. I think they saw her as a goddess there. She can
Yes.
manipulate the weather.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, yeah. And then
That is my queen.
yeah, you had Colossus, who is able to transform his body into, what is that? Is that steel, or I'm not quite sure what it is, but he can turn his body into metal. Don't know what kind of metal that is, but he's a Russian guy. I don't know his name. Then you have Wolverine, who's probably the most popular X-Men ever, who has
Of all time.
yeah, he's an adamantium
Yeah.
skeletal system, and he has claws that can protrude right from his knuckles, I think, in certain interpretations.
Yes.
And he doesn't know he doesn't really know his past, and he's been trying to figure out who he truly is.
He doesn't even know how old he really is. That man could be very, very old.
Because he served with Captain America at one point, and he joined a team called Alpha Flight, and he was also part of the New Avengers at one point. And some call him James Howlett, some call him Logan. So he was in Japan at a point. So
And he was okay. Maybe we'll come back to that, but he was a hoe. Oh, he was a hoe.
Really?
Oh God! Look up how many kids Logan has.
How many kids does he have?
Too many.
Really? I
You're...
know he has a daughter, right?
Oh no, that
No,
that's just one of them.
not the one with the two claws. There's another one. I think she has blonde hair. I saw it.
Either he he's been spreading his seed.
Wow. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone. Okay, then there's Gambit, who also uses kinetic energy to throw cards and explode, I think.
It's Gambit and then Rogue, of course.
Yeah, Rogue, who can copy people's abilities through touch.
Yeah.
And then
which arguably makes her the most dangerous mutant of them all.
Right. I can't believe
if she could control that power, that is. I think.
Yeah, this thing says there's 9 minutes left. I can't believe.
Oh crap!
So quick.
You know.
Maybe we'll do another one. But yeah,
we'll do a part 2. It needs a part 2.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe.
I
think maybe we can get our guests to come join us at the next episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that I'm forgetting from the hero?
From the X-Men.
Like someone prominent.
Oh, then there's Jubilee, but Jubilee is more prominent in the television series.
Yeah, that's true.
And
what can she do anyway? Does she manipulate?
Literally fireworks.
Yeah, but how does that help in combat?
People think that her powers suck because of that. Have you ever been hit by a rocket? Rockets are practically fireworks without the flash. So she'll kill you and make it look beautiful. That's the big difference between her and a walking bomb.
Fair enough.
And then there's of course what's his name? Why do I call him Nightwing?
There's also Banshee, right? There's Banshee.
The one who teleports. What's his name? Nightcrawler. There you go.
Nightcrawler, yeah. And that's something that I also wanted to say, that there's also, apart from the race thing, there's also this thing of, some people who are born with, I guess, certain physical appearances that are not similar to ours. And that's what Nightcrawler represents, because he has like 3 fingers on each hand.
3 fingers and a tail.
And I think he has like 3 toes, I think.
And guess who's his mom, canonically?
Mystique.
Yep.
Yeah. And his dad is, who's that guy? Azael or something like that.
Yeah, Azael or something. Azazel or something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the
canonically speaking.
Yeah, the so-called good guys, which is debatable. I mean, we're told about the X-Men from their point of view, but doesn't necessarily mean that, they are always good or always pure. Because you have a character like Jean Grey who was possessed by the Phoenix Force and
You know,
annihilated the entire planet.
what I don't like about that, let me tell you something. They retcon the Phoenix Force because back then they had this thing of having a sense of morality.
Yes,
So there are characters that are so evil that they should not be redeemed, and
yeah,
wiping out an entire civilization was one of them. So,
yes.
but
And Chris
unfortunately, Jean
Claremont,
Grey was so popular that they had to bring her back somehow.
yes, yes. Because I remember Chris Claremont, I don't think had intentions of bringing her back or having her redeemed, but because she was that popular, then they had to do this whole thing that the Phoenix Force
Like,
actually influenced her into doing that. So it was not her that did it. It was just the Phoenix Force that was forcing her to do it.
you know, so I liked Phoenix Force,
Hmm,
Jean Grey. I like the fact that she was that powerful.
right.
She's literally the next step. And I also like the fact that it comes with a warning that just because you have so much power that can go beyond your control, it has consequences. Those are lessons. Those are lessons that could say are lost in some ways, especially in many stories that you find nowadays. When you have somebody who can just who keeps on getting new powers and then he can control it somehow,
Yeah.
where we don't think about the morality of having so much power in the first place. So we have characters like Jean Grey who said, "F it, I'm gonna blow up an entire planet.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the whole Nova Corps scared."
Dude. A whole
Do you know?
core.
Do you know how scary powerful that is? The Nova Corps
The Green Lanterns.
are like the Green Lanterns of Marvel, and they were scared of. They ranked her a bigger threat. Her and the Kree Empire ranked the Phoenix as a bigger threat than Galactus. I kid you not.
That is crazy. But
So, and then they said, "Oh no, it's just the Phoenix Force. She's okay. There's still some good left in her."
something like that also happened with DC. If you remember, Hal Jordan went
Yeah.
crazy and called himself Parallax, and he was destroying like Green Lanterns left, right, and center. There's even a famous cover of him having rings on each finger.
All seven rings. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they came back and said, no, 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 no. It was not Hal Jordan doing that. He was influenced by the parallax force that was in him and
Oh,
all of that. So I guess once a hero is too popular, they don't want to change that hero into becoming a villain. I guess.
be- be- because we are dabbling in the dark side of comics here. Because it makes them too much money.
Yeah, right.
When
But
when the money starts influencing the story, you'll find a whole lot of crazy retconning.
that's true. That's true. And
An
also,
example I can give to you, and maybe one day we'll have a discussion about that, is with what's his name? With Dragon Ball Z.
right.
You see how the money has influenced the story over the years.
Yeah, that's why the story is not as strong as it used to be.
But
Um,
hey, mention to those Goku fans, they will kill you.
yeah, look, now it's all about transformations and seeing the latest, but the stakes are not as high as they used to be. You don't feel like, you know, defeating these villains is worth anything. Like when you were
You know,
watching Goku versus Frieza, for instance, a whole planet was at stake. Namek.
we'll come back to that. Let's save that for the Dragon Ball Z one.
Right.
Right now we are talking about X-Men. Right.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
And I hope we get to talk about my favorite villain.
yeah, we will. But I wanted to say that I think we'll give him attention in part two because we have like
Yeah.
2 minutes left. But I just wanted to say that I recently discovered that what these writers did is they gave the female characters a lot of power. So in as much as maybe they're not as strong as they should be physically, like maybe via hand-to-hand combat, they're not that strong. But their powers are so strong that they don't even require any form of physical contact apart from Rogue. When you look at Storm, she can just, strike you with lightning.
Yeah, she's like the team sorcerer.
Yes. Then you have Jean Grey, right?
Jean Grey is the wizard
Yeah,
of the team.
yeah.
Same dexterity.
And
One
then
touch and she falls down.
and then you
And
have Rogue, who can steal your powers upon
literally the rogue.
yeah. And there's Emma Frost as well. I think she's
Yeah.
a telepath. They
She's a
call her
telepath.
the White Queen, and she can turn her body into like what, diamond or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you
Which
just?
ironically makes her immune to telepathy. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either. But she's one of the most powerful mutants in the team. You know.
Well, who was both for and against the X-Men? Let's not forget she used to be one of the enemies.
Yeah, she used to be part of the Hellfire Club, right?
Yeah.
Led by so. And you know what I've noticed? Cyclops has a relationship with people with telepaths or people with telekinesis. Even if
I
it's
wonder
not,
why.
even if it's not dating, but he has close relationships with Professor X. He dated Emma Frost, and he was with Jean Grey, and I think Psylocke as well was.
Hey,
Doesn't she have like telepathy or telekinesis powers or something?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Flip, I can't
Our
believe it.
time's up.
Our time is up already. But hey,
Our
guys,
time is up already. Yep.
this is part one of talking about X-Men. There's gonna be many parts to come. And Tebello, thanks, man, for joining me. Guys,
Always a pleasure.
I'll see you on the next one, which will be very soon, hopefully. And yeah,
Hopefully.
see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Peace.
Ah.